This morning, a man named Vester Flanagan perpetrated America's 246th mass shooting of the year 2015.
Really? Or is that just a number you pulled off every town?
2015, we're just days away. Vester is black, and he's gay, and that shouldn't really mean anything, but of course it's going to.
Yet if it was a white southern man who was conservative or libertarian, or conservative libertarian, you would be talking about how, see, we need to do something about these Tea Party members. They're crazy, they're going to commit an act of violence. They already have committed an act of violence. The fact of the matter is that the mass murderer in this case was a fucking progressive leftist like you. Come to think of it, a lot of these mass murderers tend to be more left-leaning.
Very appropriate in my mind, and also very funny in an ironic way, that the technology that has improved human lives in so many ways can also provide a stage for the most primitive sorts of human atrocities. You know, 2015 CE technology, 2015 BCE mentality.
You just now figured out technology can be abused as well as do good things. Oh, and by the way, TJ, nobody has really evolved since 2015 BCE. Evolution's a process that takes millions of years in many cases, if not at least tens of thousands of years. Of course, you know, I'm not going to hear anything about technology control from you probably, or social media control from you probably, but we're going to hear from you shortly how we need to control this item right here, which murder proved, obviously, you know, it's obvious, that can be abused by predatory individuals, or it can be used to protect yourself from those predatory individuals.
The more high-profile ones like this that get mainstream media attention are always followed by the same dumb discussions on...
You're right, they are dumb discussions.
They pretty much go like this. The gun argument basically goes like this. Hey, I think we need some common sense regulations on guns to hopefully prevent at least some of these attacks from happening, and obviously...
Yeah, except those common sense proposals won't hardly stop any of those attacks, TJ. The fact of the matter is that you've pretty much quoted every town. I don't even have to look that up. I can already tell just from inflated numbers. And then the fact of the matter is that their proposals aren't going to do a damn thing to stop these mass murders.
Obviously, gun violence is out of control in this country, and the response to that is basically, no, you ain't taking my guns! You ain't taking my guns!
TJ, you're either ignorant or a liar. That's called a straw man. The argument here is the fact that, first off, many of these restrictions may have contributed to a more favorable environment for the mass murderer, such as gun-free zones. Now, I remember in a previous video where you talked about how concealed carriers should respect the rights of people that don't want to carry guns, don't want them carrying guns on their property. You know what? Now it's your turn to respect the rights of law-abiding citizens. And yes, even those common sense restrictions are infringements. And furthermore, it's not that difficult to see. You know, If you were like me and remember the 90s, there was talk of outright bans in the 90s. Hell, there are people in the U.S. even today who talk about banning guns. Hell, there have been confiscations in the U.S., such as in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. There were confiscations in New York and California after they passed some pretty draconian gun control laws there. Hell, after the Isla Vista massacre, guess what? California, with all those common sense restrictions, had to take them even further. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter what laws are on the book now, does it, TJ? Anytime something happens, you're going to always knee-jerk into this idea that we need to restrict guns, even though I doubt you've bought a firearm, ever. I doubt you've even tried to purchase a firearm.
Oh, if those reporters had had guns, they'd have been able to fight back. And they could have saved themselves.
Well, judging from the video, the reporter should have been paying better attention anyway, because he was standing there like 5 feet away from him, pointing a gun at him for quite a bit of time before he even shot. And nobody noticed until he started shooting. So, yes, if they had firearms and were actually paying attention to their surroundings, which you always should be, then yes, they might have stood a better chance. Hell, maybe one of them still might have died. However, the other one might have survived, and the other one might not. And you know, somebody else might not have gotten hit. The fact of the matter is that, generally speaking, when faced with an opponent, be they armed or not, you generally stand a better chance when you're armed. And this is our problem with these gun laws, is that a lot of them take firearms out of the hands of law-abiding citizens when they need them the most.
Because as we know, if a good person has a gun and a bad person has a gun, fortune just automatically smiles on the good person.
Again, that's a total straw man, but let me respond to this. Well, here's what your side has to say, TJ. There'd be violence and apocalyptic gun battles in the streets. That was their argument when shall issue concealed carry permits were all the national debate in the 90s, when a lot of states started adopting them. You know what your argument was? Well, not yours, but your side's argument was, you know, during campus carry. We shouldn't give drunk 19-year-olds guns. Pretty much ignoring what exactly the bill said and ignoring current concealed carry laws in just about every fucking state. By the way, you have to be 21 to even purchase a pistol in most states. And then when you want to get a concealed carry license, you usually go through a lot more stringent process. But TJ will never admit that.
Facepalm. Mental.
My thoughts exactly, TJ, because right now you're arguing a lot like those feminists.
Mental health. It's like, hey, maybe we need to improve diagnosis and treatment of mentally ill people, and we should make it available to everyone regardless of their income level. Not just to prevent shootings, but also because it's the right thing to do. Nope! Cost me tax dollars. No new taxes. Communism. Socialism. Once again,
That is socialism. Yeah. And when has state-run medicine ever topped private sector medicine, dude? I mean, you're simply throwing away taxpayer dollars when you do these sorts of things. Oh, and Furthermore, I'm not against the improvement of mental health treatment, nor am I against the improvement of diagnosis or anything like that. I simply am in favor of a free market solution, which seems to work the best when it comes to improving healthcare all around. Just like the free market tends to improve just about everything. I mean, you remember when our phone services were nationalized? Well, a lot of people don't. But shortly after our phone services were privatized, instead of just having that simple landline and an answering machine if you were lucky, we got things like cell phones, smartphones, two-way calling, The market vastly improved, thanks to the private sector.
Race argument is basically racism still exists in America. Just make that statement. That statement alone is like, what? I ain't racist. I just think people should stick to their own damn kind.
Again, this is a straw man, but the implication here is TJ's talking about Southern white men. It's kind of funny how you can say anything about anybody else and it's, oh my God, you're being a bigot. But, when it comes to Southern white men, that's perfectly fine. Fuck yourself, TJ.
And then a black person will chime in like, only white people are racist. And in fact, all white people are racist because society is inherently racist. The social structure itself contains massive inequities and racism.
And stupid people don't want to hear it because either they want a quick fix, such as your side does, TJ, or they just want to stay back out of the argument, or they have no idea what they're talking about. And by the way, people on my side don't want to defend the status quo. We want to see it changed, just not the way your side wants it to be changed. No, they don't have to be black, TJ. They can be of any race and still be a social justice warrior.
So in this case, it's a double facepalm. Oh, stupid white people, stupid black.
I agree with the double face palm in so many different ways.
People, oh God. There's no point in having those arguments again. Because smart people want to actually engage in real dialogues and move towards solving the fucking problem. Stupid people just want to do everything in their power to defend a status quo that is clearly fucked up.
I agree, because the gun control advocates don't want to have a discussion where there's any opposition to them. That's been proven time and time again. And stupid people don't want to hear it because either they want a quick fix, such as your side does, TJ, or they just want to stay back out of the argument, or they have no idea what they're talking about. And by the way, people on my side don't want to defend the status quo. We want to see it changed, just not the way your side wants it to be changed.
And why? Because I'm afraid of change. I'm afraid of change. 240.
Total straw man. And again, apparently it's okay to pick on white Southerners, but it ain't okay to pick on any other race. Well, TJ, let me pick on your side for a bit. Blood the streets, apocalyptic gun battles. You can sneak a Glock to a metal detector. You can shoot down a 70-47 with a 50 BMG. Oh my God, you let CHL holders carry on campus. You give guns to drunk 19-year-olds. Shoot. Shoot. See, two could play that game, TJ. No, TJ, we're not afraid of change. We just don't like your idea of change. We just don't like your change, is pretty much what it goes down to. You know, some of us have a lot of money invested in our guns. And, by the way, don't believe me, I got a lot of guns, but if you see in my previous videos, that rifle rack, well, one of them rifles cost $2,000. That magazine in that rifle is illegal in a few states. That rifle itself is illegal in California. Why? Because we've let people like you come in and have your way with those common sense gun laws. See, the thing is, TJ, either you're dishonest or you're a blowhard on this one. You're an ignorant blowhard on this one, is what I meant to say. So, you know, either what's happened here is you know the effects of these laws and lying about it, or you just sat there and took everything Everytown, groups like Everytown said, you know, as divine principle. Never thought a damn about the laws they were proposing, and just said, fuck it, you know, I don't care, you know. So, you know, at that point, fuck you too, with that one. Some of us simply, like me, again, simply want to just keep our freedom. And in fact, we'd like to roll back some of these stupid gun laws that both infringe on people's freedoms and at times cost people their lives. See, this is something your side won't ever admit, won't ever show a damn bit of sympathy for. Such is the case with Carol Brown in New Jersey. Or that stunt State Senator Hudak pulled with Amanda Collins. See, this is why your side gets so much damn opposition. You know, and you're like the feminist in this fucking respect, dude. You won't pay attention to the facts, you know. You you support these nonsensical ideas, and then you wonder why nobody else supports them. Or, you know, you wonder why you get so much opposition. Shoot, I can go on forever.
26 mass shootings this year alone.
Until you provide a source that's not a group like Everytown or Moms Demand Action, you know, until you provide a legitimate source for that, I'm just going to dismiss it as being untrue without evidence. You know the old saying, what can be presented without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence.
That's how serious the problem is, and yet we're not willing to try to solve it. Because Leroy, down in Texas, thinks that even the mildest measure of gun control is just a slippery slope that's going to lead to them trying to take my guns away.
Right. Yeah. It's some gun owners who oppose my common sense gun laws. They're the real reason. Scapegoating anybody? Plenty of dictators have done it. To include Hitler. Hell, feminists do that all the time. You know, it seems to be a common tactic among progressives. And even though I'm sure TJ will profess that he's not like those feminists, he's exactly like those feminists on this issue. You see, he is a social justice warrior on that one. Obviously, anyone who opposes him on these common sense gun laws in general is presumable to be a southern white male. And it is also okay for them southern white males to be the brunt of anybody's abuse or scapegoating. Because, hey, they're southern white males. And it's perfectly okay if we do that to them, but not to anybody else. But this is also reminiscent to me on how much gun control advocates ignore facts. Blatantly, at many times. Shortly after Sandy Hook, I was listening to a radio show called The Morning Joe. Now, Joe had this guest on. One of the topics that got brought up, Sandy Hook being the big thing, was the argument against gun-free zones. And, of course, this guest claimed to be a veteran, which, good job, Morning Joe, you have Valor Thieves on your show. But he said, well, Fort Hood has a whole bunch of guns on them, and they didn't stop Nidal Hasan. Oh, yeah, Fort Hood had a bunch of guns there. They were all locked up in the arms room, though. You need commander's approval to draw your issued weapon, and it has to be for a specific purpose. Second, even if you could draw your weapon, ammunition storage facility is how far away from each of the arms rooms? Fort Hood is a large installation, by the way, just in case y'all haven't figured it out. But even then, the unit has to actually requisition ammo. So no, it wasn't like those guns were on the soldiers in that SRP site. Just as Joe's guest would have had you believe. Personally owned weapons, you say? Go ahead and get caught carrying your own personal weapon onto a military installation of any type. Get caught doing that. Get caught carrying a pistol on a military installation, cock-locked and ready to go. It don't matter if you have a concealed carry permit. It don't matter, if you've been an excellent soldier and have a security clearance and all that other stuff. You carry your own personally owned firearm onto a military installation. Oh, and God help you if it's not registered with a provost marshal, by the way. But you get caught doing that, your life's over, dude. Your life is over. But it's amazing how gun control advocates still won't acknowledge the fact of the matter is that military installations are gun-free zones. I'm rambling.
Well, if they come for my gun, they can have the bullets. Boom, 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 boom.
Again, that's only a small percentage of gun rights advocates that say this. And people like TJ are, again, distorting the facts.
We have daily mass shootings, less than daily. And yet, if you try to solve this problem, inevitably and invariably there will be a fat, stupid, white, usually, conservative, usually, Christian, usually, fuck.
And the people that orchestrate these attacks are Democrat, usually, in favor of gun control, usually, atheist, usually, progressive, usually. Shall I continue?
Who would lose on a game show called Are You Smarter Than a Hamster with Down Syndrome?
You should see some of your progressive buddies, how retarded they get.
That fuck will derail the conversation every time with misguided platitudes and ill-informed objections. Now,
You must be talking about your fellow gun control advocates on that one.
tomorrow we'll actually be dealing with some of those people when I make my next video, Idiots React to the WDBJ Shooting. And we will also, later this week, be putting out a video called 10 Misconceptions About Atheism. So stay tuned for those two videos.
Well, I hope at least you know a little bit more about atheism and atheists than you do about Southern white men and gun control laws.